Sometimes life hits harder than anyone can imagine. A crash, a fall, a storm, or just one wrong second that changes everything. Yet some people went through it all, the fear, the chaos, the pain, and somehow made it out alive. Their stories aren't about luck. They're about raw determination, instinct, and the kind of strength that appears only when survival is the only option. From the skies to the depths of the ocean, these survivors turned their darkest moments into powerful stories of survival and strength. So, in this video, you'll discover 15 incredible people who stared death in the face and proved that survival sometimes has no limits. Number 15. Julian Kupka. On December 24, 1971, just a day after graduating, Julian Kupka boarded Lanza Flight 508 with her mother, Maria, bound for Panguana. Though her father, Hans Wilhelm, had warned them against flying with the airline because of its poor safety record, it was the only flight available on Christmas Eve. Midway through the journey, lightning struck the plane, causing it to disintegrate in midair. Still strapped to her row of seats, Julianne plummeted nearly 10,000 feet into the dense Amazon rainforest. Miraculously, she survived with a broken collarbone, a deep arm wound, an eye injury, a torn knee ligament, and a concussion. For 11 days, she endured insect bites, an arm infested with botfly larvae, and hunger as she followed a creek that led her to safety. On the 9th day, she reached a lumber camp where workers treated her wounds with gasoline and transported her by canoe for hours before she was airlifted to a hospital. Experts later concluded that her seat row, storm updrafts, and thick forest canopy helped slow her fall. Number 14. Aron Ralston. Aron Ralston, born on October 27, 1975 in Marion, Ohio, grew up in Denver, Colorado, where he learned to ski and backpack. A graduate of Carnegie Mellon University with degrees in mechanical engineering and French, he also worked as a rafting guide and pursued outdoor adventures. On April 26, 2003, while canyoneering alone in Blue John Canyon, Utah, a boulder dislodged and trapped his right arm against a canyon wall. With no way to call for help, he rationed 350 milliliters of water and 2 burritos over 5 days while repeatedly attempting to free himself. Dehydrated and hallucinating, he envisioned a future child and gained the will to survive. On the 6th day, after realizing his arm had begun decomposing, he broke his bones using torque and amputated his forearm with a dull multi-tool. After rappelling down a 65-foot wall and hiking for hours, he met a Dutch family who helped alert rescuers. 4 hours later, a helicopter evacuated him, saving his life. Number 13. Vesna Vulovic. It was meant to be a simple work trip, but fate had other plans for Vesna Vulovic. The 22-year-old flight attendant had agreed to cover a route from Stockholm to Belgrade, unaware that a mix-up put her on the wrong flight. Only a few hours later, on January 26, 1972, the Jati DC-9 aircraft she served on exploded mid-air over Czechoslovakia after a bomb went off in the baggage compartment. The plane tore apart at 33,000 feet, killing everyone on board except Vesna. Born in Belgrade to a businessman father and a fitness instructor mother, she had joined Yugoslavia's national airline just a year earlier. Her body, still strapped inside a section of the cabin, landed on a snowy mountainside, where a former medic found her barely alive. Investigators later said that being trapped by a food trolley, the soft snow, and her naturally low blood pressure all helped her survive what remains the highest recorded fall without a parachute. Number 12. Harrison O'Keene. Harrison Ojegba. O'Keene, a Nigerian ship's cook, experienced one of the most extraordinary survivals in maritime history when the tugboat Jascon 4 capsized on May 26, 2013, during rough seas near a chevron platform in the Gulf of Guinea. The vessel, which was stabilizing an oil tanker, sank to the seafloor at a depth of about 30 meters, trapping all 12 crew members inside. 11 perished, but O'Keen managed to find his way through the flooded compartments to the engineer's office, where a small air pocket just over a meter high kept him alive for 60 hours. In total darkness and freezing water, he endured hunger, isolation, and rising carbon dioxide levels, hoping for a miracle. 3 days later, a team of South African divers sent to recover bodies unexpectedly found him alive. They equipped him with a diving helmet and safely brought him to the surface after decompression. Overcoming trauma, O'Keen later trained as a professional diver, earning an internationally recognized certification. Number 11. Anna Bogenholm. Anna Bogenholm, born in 1970 in Vänersborg, Sweden, was one of 8 children and a dedicated medical student training to become an orthopedic surgeon. In May 1998, she began working as an assistant surgeon at Narvik Hospital in Norway, studying under her mentor, Yngve Jones. A year later, on May 20th, 1999, she joined colleagues Marie Falkenberg and Torvin Nesheim for a skiing trip in the mountains outside Narvik. While descending a familiar slope, she lost control and fell headfirst through a hole in the ice of a frozen stream, becoming trapped beneath a 20-centimeter thick sheet. Only her feet and skis remained visible as freezing water filled her clothes. Despite the peril, she managed to locate a small air pocket that kept her alive for a time. After 80 minutes underwater, she suffered cardiac arrest and her body temperature plummeted to 13.7 degrees Celsius, one of the lowest ever survived by a human with accidental hypothermia. Her eventual recovery remains one of medicine's most remarkable survival stories. Number 10. Joe Simpson. In 1985, British climber Joe Simpson faced a near-fatal ordeal on Ciula Grande in the Peruvian Andes while attempting a descent with his partner Simon Yates. After falling from an ice cliff and shattering his leg, Simpson was left immobilized as a storm engulfed the mountain. Yates tried to lower him down the slope, but when the rope's strain threatened to pull them both off the mountain, he made the agonizing choice to cut it, sending Simpson plummeting into a crevasse. Against all odds, Simpson survived the fall and managed to climb out using his ice axe and rope. With his leg broken and no food or water, he crawled for 3 days across glaciers and rocky terrain, covering nearly 5 miles before reaching base camp. The mountaineering community later debated Yates's decision, which Simpson defended, saying he would have done the same. His extraordinary survival became the basis for his best-selling book and documentary, Touching the Void. Number 9. Mauro Prosperi. Mauro Prosperi, born in Rome on July 13, 1955, worked as a police officer before becoming an endurance athlete. In 1994, while competing in the Marathon des Sables, he became lost in the Sahara Desert after a sandstorm separated him from other runners. Alone with limited supplies, he decided to keep moving to avoid heat stroke. With nothing but sand in every direction, he eventually found an abandoned Marabout shrine and used it as shelter. To survive, he rationed his food by cooking it with urine on a portable burner, licked dew from rocks, and drank his own urine to stay hydrated. He raised an Italian flag on the roof, hoping it would help rescuers find him. When food ran out, he ate bats, bird eggs, beetles, and lizards, using a pocket knife to prepare them. After days without rescue and enduring another sandstorm, he attempted to end his life, but ultimately survived 9 days before being discovered alive, weak, but miraculously still breathing. Number 8. Roy Sullivan. Roy Sullivan, a park ranger at Shenandoah National Park, holds one of the most bizarre survival records in history. He was struck by lightning 7 times and lived to tell about it. His first encounter came in 1942 while sheltering in a fire lookout tower that had no lightning rod. The tower caught fire, and as he ran outside, a bolt struck him, burning his leg and foot. In 1969, lightning entered through the window of his truck, knocking him unconscious and setting his hair ablaze. Over the next decade, he was struck several more times, once in his yard, once inside a ranger station, and again while on patrol when he saw a storm cloud that seemed to follow him. Each strike left burns and injuries, and he carried water afterward to extinguish his hair whenever it caught fire. His final 2 strikes occurred in 1976 and 1977, the last while fishing, where, even while burning, he fought off a bear trying to steal his catch. Number 7. Hiroo Onoda. When World War II ended in 1945, most soldiers went home, but one man refused to believe it was over. Hiroo Onoda, a Japanese officer stationed on Lubang Island in the Philippines, stayed hidden in the jungle for nearly 3 decades, convinced the war was still being fought. Alongside a few fellow soldiers, he lived off coconuts, bananas, and stolen rice, sometimes raiding villages and clashing with locals he mistook for enemies. Born in 1922, Onoda had been trained to never surrender, and even after seeing leaflets announcing Japan's surrender, he dismissed them as enemy tricks. One by one, his companions died or surrendered, leaving him completely alone by 1972. Still, he kept following orders, carrying out raids and watching for a command that never came. It wasn't until 1974 that Onoda finally laid down his weapon, nearly 30 years after the war had ended, marking one of the longest and most haunting tales of loyalty ever recorded. Number 6. Frane Selak. Frane Selak, a Croatian music teacher born on June 14, 1929, became famous for a lifetime of unbelievable escapes from death. His string of alleged near-fatal experiences began in 1962 when a train he was traveling on derailed into an icy river, killing 17 passengers. He was pulled to safety with a broken arm and hypothermia. The following year, during his first flight, a malfunctioning door ejected him from the plane, and he landed safely in a haystack while 19 people perished in the crash. In 1966, he survived another tragedy when a bus plunged into a river, swimming to shore as 4 passengers drowned. His luck continued when his car caught fire in 1970 and again in 1973, when a faulty fuel pump caused flames to shoot through his vehicle. Later, he survived being hit by a bus and escaping a mountain crash that sent his car 300 feet down a cliff. In 2003, he won the lottery, married for the 5th time, gave away most of his winnings, and lived simply until his death in 2016 at age 87. Number 5. Beck Weathers. Beck Weathers grew up in a military family, attended college in Wichita Falls, Texas, and built a life with his wife and 2 children. Though outwardly successful, he quietly battled lifelong depression and found escape in mountaineering, believing that pushing his body to its limits silenced his darkest thoughts. In 1986, he began climbing and later set his sights on the 7 summits, inspired by Richard Bass's achievement. By 1996, Weathers was part of Rob Hall's guided expedition on Mount Everest. After undergoing recent eye surgery, he discovered that the altitude had temporarily blinded him near the summit. Stranded in a deadly storm at 27,000 feet, he was left behind twice. First after being presumed dead, then again when rescuers deemed his condition hopeless. Against all odds, Weathers regained consciousness, staggered back to camp through the blizzard, and survived frostbite so severe that he lost both hands, parts of his feet, and his nose. After being airlifted off Everest, he returned home, rebuilt his life, and later shared his story in Left for Dead, continuing to inspire others through his survival and resilience. Number 4. Bethany Hamilton. Bethany Hamilton was born on February 8, 1990, in Lihue, Hawaii, to Tom and Sherry Hamilton, and grew up alongside her 2 older brothers, Noah and Timothy. Introduced to surfing at just 3 years old, she began competing by 8 and earned her first sponsorship at 10. On October 31, 2003, while surfing with her best friend Alana Blanchard at Tunnels Beach, a 14-foot tiger shark bit off her left arm just below the shoulder. Alana's father quickly tied a tourniquet using a rash guard, and Hamilton was rushed to Wilcox Medical Center, where doctors operated after she lost over half her blood. Investigators later confirmed the shark responsible had been caught nearby. Remarkably, only 26 days after the attack, she returned to the ocean with a custom board fitted with a handle to help her paddle. She learned to adapt her technique, relying on balance and powerful kicks, and soon returned to professional surfing. Her board and swimsuit from that day now rest in the California Surf Museum, symbols of courage and determination. Number 3, Hugh Glass. The story of Hugh Glass is one of sheer will and survival. In 1823, while exploring with the Ashley Party near the Grand River in what is now South Dakota, he came face to face with a mother grizzly and her cubs. The bear mauled him brutally, tearing into his flesh and leaving him with deep wounds across his body and neck. His fellow trappers believed he wouldn't make it, carrying him for 2 days before deciding he was beyond saving. Left alone in the wilderness, Glass refused to die. Using his remaining strength, he began crawling through the rough terrain, surviving on berries and whatever he could find. Over weeks, he dragged himself more than 200 miles to reach Fort Kiowa. Years earlier, Glass had already lived through piracy, capture, and life among the Pawnee. But this ordeal became the defining chapter of his life, an unmatched story of endurance that turned him into one of the most legendary frontiersmen in American history. Number 2, Deborah Scaling Kiley. Deborah Scaling Kiley, born on January 21, 1958, was an accomplished American sailor, author, and motivational speaker known for her remarkable endurance at sea. In 1982, while sailing off the coast of North Carolina, her boat capsized, leaving her and her crewmates stranded in open water. For 5 harrowing days, she drifted in a small inflatable raft, surrounded by sharks and battling exhaustion, dehydration, and despair. Her survival became one of the most extraordinary ocean rescue stories ever recorded. Years earlier, she had already made history as the first American woman to complete the Whitbread Round-the-World race, proving her courage and skill as a sailor. Kiley later turned her experience into the book Albatross, which inspired several films and documentaries. She continued sharing lessons on resilience and survival until her death in Mexico in 2012. Number 1, Stephen Callahan. Stephen Callahan, an experienced sailor and naval architect, endured one of the longest recorded solo survivals at sea after his small sailboat was destroyed by a storm in the Atlantic Ocean. In 1982, while en route from the Canary Islands to the Caribbean, his vessel was struck during rough weather and sank, forcing him to abandon ship and take refuge in a 6-foot inflatable life raft. With limited supplies, Callahan survived 76 days adrift, relying on rainwater, fish he caught with makeshift tools, and sheer determination to stay alive. He faced relentless sun, dehydration, and constant shark encounters while drifting over 1,800 miles before being rescued near the Bahamas. His ordeal became the foundation for his acclaimed book, Adrift: 76 Days Lost at Sea, which remains one of the most detailed and inspiring accounts of human endurance and ingenuity. These incredible survival stories show how powerful the human will can be when everything seems lost. From deadly storms to freezing mountains, each story proves that courage can outlast fear. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share for more real stories of survival and strength. Thanks for watching.